Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is COMM1160, week number 4. And this week, we're going to look at APA Part 2. Specifically, we're going to focus on in-text citations. So this week, we're going to look at how to use research information when you're writing. We're going to look at some different methods for that. And then we're going to talk about how to credit research information when you're writing. Those are the APA in-text citations that we'll cover this week. I'm going to give you some instructions about how to complete your second APA assignment. And then we're going to have a brief discussion of a future research project that's coming up. So a lot on the agenda this particular week, and we're going to get through all of it. I'm going to chunk up the videos so that each video has a slightly different topic. So let's start talking about how you're going to use information when you're writing. When you're doing up an assignment or an essay for a class, or when you're writing later on as a working professional, you're going to have two choices for how you present information that you've gathered from your research. The first is direct quoting, which is where you use the words of the original author or authors exactly as they appear, word for word for word. The other option that you have is paraphrasing. And paraphrasing is when you take the information or the ideas that you've learned from the research, but you express it in your own way. I'm going to ask you to open up the Getting Started with APA handout, which I put for you in the week 4 folder, so that we can talk about the difference between direct quoting, paraphrasing, and providing opinion. And I'm going to pull up the handout for you here as well. Okay, so our very first step in talking about using research material is to define the differences between direct quoting, paraphrasing, and providing opinion. So as I just mentioned, direct quoting is when you use something from a research source word for word, so that you're reproducing exactly what it is that you read in an article, on a website, in a book. Excuse me. So, for example, if you were reading a book that was written by somebody with the last name Smith, let's say, and you came across the sentence, Siamese cats are the smartest cat breed in the world. If you wanted to use this sentence exactly, you would put it in quotation marks and present it as a direct quote. So you might say something like, according to Smith, and I'll go over what's here in the bracket, that's the APA citations, quote, Siamese cats are the smartest cat breed in the world, unquote. Whenever you use research material word for word as a direct quote, you always, always, always need to put in what you've borrowed in quotation marks. Now, we normally say that you should only direct quote if an author is saying something in such an original way that you can't find your own way to express that same idea in different words. So direct quoting we can use, but we're going to use it sparingly, okay? Just when you absolutely must use a direct quote. What we're going to be doing more of, though, is paraphrasing. And paraphrasing is when you take an idea or a concept or some information from a research source, but you express it in your own words. So if we use the same example, excuse me, if I read Siamese cats are the smartest cat breed in the world, and in an assignment or an essay, I wanted to express that same idea, I might paraphrase it, saying something like, of all the cats in the world, the Siamese is the most intelligent. So I'm using the exact same idea, expressing myself in my own way, but the original information came from a research source. This is what we want to do most of the time when we're writing. So we look at all sorts of different pieces of research, and then we borrow, okay, the ideas or the concepts from those research sources, but we express or we write in our own way. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm coughing so much today. It's very dry in here. Pardon me. If we're paraphrasing, we do still need to give credit to the original author or authors as we're writing. And that's where the APA in-text citation stuff is going to come in. So we'll cover exactly how to do that. But for now, just focus on the difference between direct quoting and paraphrasing. I am also going to give you a little handout about paraphrasing so that you can review what paraphrasing is. Okay, it is a very valuable skill. And again, 95% of your writing will be paraphrasing. In addition to paraphrasing and direct quoting, there will be times where you'll be asked to provide an opinion. Opinion is different than direct quoting or paraphrasing because it's not based in research. It's something that comes from your own head or your own heart. So you're expressing your own personal beliefs or your own personal thoughts that haven't been influenced by research that you've read. So, for example, if I were to make a statement and say that I believe that my Siamese, Bogey, is smarter than your dog, I'm not making that statement based on any research that's been conducted. I'm giving you my personal opinion, right? And in fact, you could argue against that. You could say, you're crazy, right? My dog is way smarter than a cat. I have no proof. I have no evidence to support this. It's just what I believe in my own head and heart about my particular cat. So it's an expression of opinion. When you're providing opinion, you do not include an APA in-text citation because it's coming directly from you. I will tell you, though, that in healthcare, it's rare that you're asked to provide writing that's based on opinion. There may be situations where you're asked in an assignment to give your opinion. Excuse me. So you might be asked to write an essay about how you personally feel about euthanasia, or about how you personally feel about how healthcare workers are treated in Ontario. If that's the case, you're providing opinion. You're not basing it on research, so you wouldn't include APA in-text citations. But those situations are few and far between. Generally, when you're asked to write, you're going to be conducting research. You're going to be gathering information about a topic or an idea from other people, and you're going to be putting it together using either direct quotations or paraphrasing. So each time that you use a direct quotation or you paraphrase, you must have an in-text citation. That's why in videos coming up, we're going to really focus on how you construct those in-text citations. Okay, so it's not optional. The only time you're not going to be using in-text citations is when you're providing pure opinion about something. And again, I think if you look at the examples, right, about Siamese cats, you can really see the difference between direct quoting, paraphrasing, and providing opinion. The next thing I want to cover is how you integrate information. So when you are direct quoting, when you're pulling information from a research source, you can never borrow, borrow a full sentence and include it in your writing as a full sentence. You always have to integrate it somehow into your own writing. And it's going to be your choice whether you use the author's names in your sentence or not. Okay, so for example, right, if I were quoting, again, that same line, Siamese cats are the smartest cat breed in the world, I could say, according to Smith, quote, Siamese cats are the smartest cat breed in the world, unquote. Or if I didn't want to use the author's name in my sentence, I could say something like, according to one cat expert, quote, Siamese cats are the smartest cat breed in the world, unquote. Okay, this is going to become important as we go into APA in-text citations. If I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to either include the author's name in my sentence, or I'm going to write a wholly original sentence that doesn't reference the author. Just as a bit of a help or a bit of a cheat, I have listed some verbs that you can use as you're writing to help you integrate information. So there are a number of verbs that are commonly used to introduce quotations. And here's a partial list on the handout. You could say Smith argues, you could say Smith points out, Smith notes, Smith suggests, and you want to have some variation, okay, for how you're including that information. Each verb has its own kind of nuance, right? So its own suggestion, okay, as to what is being portrayed. So you want to be familiar with the different nuances of these different verbs. But as you're writing, you may find this particular list helpful so that you're not repeating the same thing over and over again. Okay, that's a very brief introduction to getting started with paraphrasing, direct quoting, and providing opinion. In our next video, we're going to take a look at what you actually do for the APA in-text citations in the case of direct quoting and in the case of paraphrasing. I'll talk to you in our next video.